This is Andi Purewal for Boxing News. I'm joined by Ade Oladipo here in Morecambe. Ade, how are you? Is this your first trip ever up to Morecambe?
First trip to Morecambe, took a few hours to get to from London. I had to change trains a couple of times. But you know, it's funny, coming up here, I was like, what are we actually coming up here for? I was like, this secret press conference, like, what's going on? Are we announcing something? I'm still, 20 minutes away from the press. I still don't know what we're doing. But look, it's good to be here. I'm going to spend an hour with Tyson Fury a bit later. I think maybe go to his training camp and see what he's about. So excited to be here, excited to be in Morecambe. It's a shame the weather's not good, but you can't get everything, right? You can't get everything.
I'm hopeful as well that there isn't a big announcement. Otherwise, I've done a couple of interviews which might need to be redone. You'll be one of them. But Ade, here we are. Fury-Usyk, May 18th. As we've drawn ever closer, what's your thoughts on this fight?
It keeps flip-flopping, and that's what it should do, right? I mean, we are talking the number one and number two, like unequivocally. I know AJ's had a good run recently, but this is number one versus number two. These are two unbeaten guys. These are all the marbles. It should be a tricky fight to call. With the cut as well. Obviously, Tyson Fury didn't look great against Ngannou, but let's be honest, Alexander Usyk didn't look special against Daniel Dubois as well. I think we all forget that. So, I don't know. When this fight was first announced, I said Fury. But even then, Tony Bellew kept convincing me that Usyk's going to get the job done because obviously Bellew's been in there with him. But every time I've gone against Fury, he's proved me wrong. I've gone against him with Vladimir Klitschko. I went against him twice with Deontay Wilder. So it seems as though when everything's stacked against him, he finds a way. And I feel like he will find a way May 18th.
I've spoken to a few people about Tyson, and I've asked them when do you think the last time was when he had a high pace, high energy fight where he's had to just stay focused and box, and people have gone back to Klitschko. Obviously the Deontay Wilder fights were very different, very brutal, grueling fights for him, with the exception of probably the second fight. Do you think he goes back to that and he has to be a high energy, high intensity fight, or do you think he'll try and make it a bit more of a brawl and he'll try and take it the way he did certainly in the Wilder second and third fight?
I don't think he can go back to the Fury that fought Klitschko. I think it's just a different fighter now. He's a lot older, he's a lot bigger. You look at the weight when he fought Vladimir Klitschko, I think he was around 250, 260. Now he's around the 280, 290 mark, so I just don't think he can do that. I almost feel like he looks at Usyk as just a smaller guy that he can run down, and eventually he'll think he'll get to him. So I almost expect to see the Fury that fought Deontay Wilder second time round, where it surprised us how much he just quickly put it on Deontay Wilder and just showed that he's the bigger man in the ring. It won't be as easy, but I think he'll do that, and he'll do that without the fear of getting knocked out. Because against Wilder, he had the fear of getting put to sleep. He maybe doesn't have that with Usyk, so I expect to see an aggressive Fury. Maybe fights on the back foot a little bit, maybe shows us a bit of everything, but if we're expecting to see Fury that fought Klitschko, that was so many years ago, I just don't think that Fury exists. But the Fury exists now, can do a bit of both, but more, I think, on the front foot aggressive.
Ade, moving forward, bringing some other fights into the equation. Obviously, we've got Anthony Joshua waiting for news on him. Joseph Parker called him out this morning. So he did one of his videos as well. So you might want to see that one. What would you make of, because he's done one for Dillian Whyte, he's done one for AJ now, but Joshua Parker too would be such an intriguing fight because of how much they've developed since they first met.
Don't mind it. Honestly, don't mind it. I mean, a lot of people, with what Joseph Parker's done in the last 12 months, I think people have him as fourth best heavyweight, right? I mean, I think it does go Fury, Usyk, or Usyk, Fury, AJ, and then Joseph Parker. I can't think of anyone that could take the argument away from Joseph Parker being the fourth best heavyweight. So if number 4 is fighting number 3, who are we to complain? If I'm AJ, I'll wait to see what happens here. Because if it is Fury that wins, I know there's talk of a rematch clause. That's not going to happen. They'll go full steam on Fury, AJ. But if Usyk wins, then why not see AJ versus Joseph Parker? I thought the first fight was quite boring between the two. A lot of holding. The ref really didn't let the action go. I think both fighters are completely different now. Joseph Parker is very aggressive now under Andy Lee, and I think we've seen that AJ's got his mojo back with Ben Davison. So I think it's a good fight. I think it's a really good fight. And of all the fights that have been linked with AJ, Hrgovic has been linked, Frank Sanchez has been linked, Caballe's been linked. I think this is the one that makes sense, right? I mean, you can't beat Wilder and beat Zhang and then go backwards if you're Joseph Parker. No disrespect to Dillian Whyte. AJ Parker makes sense.
Some fights which have also been mentioned for this 5 versus 5 card, Wilder-Zhang Dubois-Hrgovic. What are your thoughts on both of them, if they do prove to be proven to be true?
Wilder-Zhang is just carnage. Like that fight is so like just dangerous. And all of a sudden, I've seen clips of Deontay Wilder with Malik Scott again, and it's almost like he's got that right hand back again, and he's aggressive. We hope. I think we had that in the lead up to Parker, and it kind of just wasn't there. So if we do get the Wilder we hope to see from a couple of years ago, and the Zhang from the first 4 or 5 rounds against Joseph Parker, that fight's incredible. As for Dubois-Hrgovic, I mean, Dubois' on a run right now. I mean, again, look, I know people don't really credit the Trevor Bryan win, but a win away from home, and then Jarrell Miller, obviously Alexander-Usyk squeezed into that. I'm not sold on Hrgovic as much as people are. I don't know, I'm just not. And I think if you're Daniel Dubois, there's a chance there. There's a good chance. I think he's got over a lot with that Jarrell Miller win where he had to dig deep and everyone, kind of labelled him a quitter. I think he clearly isn't that. He's got a big, big punch. He's got an engine. He's got a gas tank. I like that fight a lot. I really do. I think that's 2 great heavyweight fights if they're part of the 5 versus 5.
Headline for that fight, Beterbiev and Bivol. I know you've got kind of a slight lenient side towards Dimitri Bivol, obviously because of what happened after his Canelo fight, but who do you favouring?
Bivol. I'm Team Bivol all the way. I love him too much to go against him now, but that is just... I mean, I know people are saying this is fight of the year, right? Undisputed heavyweight title fight, I get it. But Bivol Beterbiev is the fight of the year. There's no 2 ways about it. Because this is guaranteed, no arguments, number 1 versus number 2. Like, number 3, so far in the distance, I don't even know who number 3 is. This is an astoundingly good fight between 2 incredible fighters, 2 different styles. You've got Bivol that's a slick back foot fighter that can be aggressive. You've got Beterbiev who's just a wrecking machine. You could just have this fight and scrap the 5 versus 5. I wouldn't care. I don't care about the rest. I can't wait for it. I'm going Bivol. It's a case of heart ruling head, though, I think.
There's 2 other fights on. Quickly get your thoughts on before I let you go and do some work. On the horizon, Haney Garcia next weekend. Ade, what is the outcome of that fight?
Haney. I can't see anything but a Haney win. I know, like, Ryan's spoken about Haney's lack of power, but Haney right now is just almost coming into his own. He's on such a good run as well. I didn't think he won against Loma, but regardless, it was a close fight and he got the W. And then you go Regis Prograis, then you go Ryan Garcia. That's a solid run. And I don't know where Ryan is mentally, so I'm not quite sure where he is. I don't know if he knows where he is. So I've got to go Devin Haney, and hopefully we get Devin Haney versus Teofimo. That's the dream.
And then final one, Canelo Munguia on May 4th again. Your thoughts on that?
You know what, yeah? As much as Canelo should win this fight, there's something about Munguia. Like when I watched him against John Ryder, obviously he's now with Freddie Roach, he's not reckless anymore. He's quite smart with his work. I spoke to John about this as well, and the way in which sort of Munguia sets up traps. He's a very smart fighter. So Canelo, yes, but I would not be shocked of the upset. Sometimes some of the favourites have got to lose sometimes, and it will be a great pass on the torch fight just because we know Munguia would jump in immediately with Benavidez. No hesitation, and I want to see those kind of fights. So Canelo wins, but I would like to see Munguia get the W.
Ade, pleasure as always. Thank you.
Cheers, my man.